You're watching Markets at Noon right here in 18-hour. Number flashing on the bottom of your screen, 25,999 crore rupees. That's the SIP inflow for the month of February. And that number is at a 3-month low. We are sub the 26,000 crore mark when you talk about the SIP inflow for the month of February. Remember that for the last 2 months, the numbers have not been great. We were just near the record high levels for the month of January. But this time in the month of February, we've slipped to a 3-month low when you talk about the SIP inflow number, given the fact that, as you can see, the trajectory is going lower, and also the fact that you have a lot of reports also suggesting that there have been SIP redemptions also, and that redemptions have been much higher than the additions in the last 2 months or so. The stock market has not been doing great, and you can see the sentiment actually trickle down when you talk of the SIP inflow. 25,999 crore rupees as again 26,400 crore rupees on a month-on-month basis. Definitely not a great picture when you look at that, and I believe the markets are also reacting to that number right now. Let's in fact try to put this all into context. We have Suranjana Borthakur, who is the head of distribution and strategic alliances and Mirae Asset Investment Managers. Hi, thank you so much for joining us. And yes, not a great picture, at least when you look at the SIP inflow number. You know, in the month of January, when the numbers had come out about 26,400 crore rupees, you were still hoping that no matter what happens to the market, you wouldn't have people actually losing faith in the SIP inflow, and they will continue with it. In the month of February, you can see that sort of a faith in the stock market has dwindled a bit.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. I think, some trends which are being seen is possibly, of course, the SIP inflows that have dipped a little, but I would say it's not a very large dip. It is a dip which has started, I think we've been continuing to talk about it, that it's a time where we should continue our SIP flows and we should not, it's a great time to probably accumulate units at this point in time. What we see is that the overall inflows, when you look at it, the equity numbers has dipped. It has actually from last month, which was 39,000 in net flows, has come down to around 29,000, which is actually a 9-month low that we are seeing. I think also if you see the net inflows in terms of all categories have actually dipped, apart from the fact that the focused category has marginally increased. Rest of the categories has dipped, but the dip has not been very large in the large cap and the flexi cap categories. The other categories have seen a larger dip. I would say the sectoral funds, which actually was a little concerning, the disproportionate inflow that was happening in the sectoral category, which 2 months back was somewhere around 15,000 crores, had last month had come down to around 9,000, and this month had come to around it has come to around 5,700, and this is in spite of 7 NFOs that happened in the category, which ended up garnering somewhere around I think 2,000 crores, which last month there were 3 NFOs which collected around 2,800 crores. So I think overall, if we see the NFOs, there were the number of NFOs continued. If you see that momentum continued with 29 NFOs, which ended up collecting somewhere around 4,000 crores. If we see in terms of ELSS as a category, actually usually during just Jan, Feb, March period, we usually see a spike. But this month, I think it has not gone up too much because the changes which happened in the union budget, I think in a new tax regime becoming more attractive has, sort of made sure that too much money is not going into this. But we feel for long-term investments, if somebody wants to stay invested, this is still continuing to be an interesting category to be there. I think in debt, if you see, the inflows have actually slowed down. There's actually been outflows that have happened in debt category. In fact, the less than 1 year category has lost money. So that's a segment which we are seeing that overall numbers have gone down because of the debt numbers going down.
Anjana, with this, we'll let you go on that. Thank you so much for taking the time out and helping us understand what this SIP trend means, as well as which are the pockets which are still seeing a bit of an inflow. But with this, viewers, we are completely timed out in this edition of Markets at Noon. It's a goodbye from me and Cheryl and the entire team. Thanks so much for tuning in.